Buckle up, folks, because we're diving headfirst into some seriously thought-provoking stuff today.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one.
You guys sent this in wanting a breakdown of this scientific paper and the reactions to it.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you, it looks like it's going to be a wild ride. This study claims it could basically flip what we know about Darwinian evolution on its head.
Yeah, that's right. It's making some pretty big waves.
So lay it on us. What's the gist?
Well, based on an analysis of 100,000 species...
100,000.
100,000 species, and get this, 5 million DNA fragments.
Wow.
This paper argues that something like 90% of all species on Earth just kind of popped up all of a sudden.
Popped up?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
mushrooms after a rainstorm.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And all within like 100,000 to 200,000 years ago.
So hold on. We're not talking about the slow, gradual evolution over millions of years that we've always learned about.
Not exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's more like evolution decided to hit the fast forward button.
So like instead of a slow and steady march of evolution, it was more like a cosmic flash mob of new life forms.
Exactly. And this obviously throws a wrench into things.
I'll say, so where are all the in-between species? Those missing links that Darwinian evolution would suggest should be out there.
That's a major point the study brings up.
Right. Like, where's the mermaid? The half-human, half-fish.
You are the ape man.
Exactly. Those transitional forms seem to be conspicuously absent.
Yeah. And the authors of the study argue that the genetic diversity we see today is way too massive to have developed gradually over time.
Okay, I gotta admit, the idea of all these species just materializing out of thin air is kind of mind-blowing. It's like someone hit the cosmic fast-forward button on evolution.
It's definitely a head-scratcher.
So how do the folks who are sticking to traditional evolutionary theory explain this apparent gap in the fossil record?
One of the main counter-arguments they put forward is this idea called punctuated equilibrium.
Punctuated equilibrium. Say that 5 times fast.
It's a mouthful. But basically what it means is that evolution doesn't always plod along at a snail's pace. Instead, you can have these sudden bursts of rapid change, followed by long periods where things are relatively stable.
Like imagine a species that suddenly has to adapt to a dramatic shift in their environment.
Exactly. Like a volcanic eruption.
Or an ice age.
Right. Those kinds of events can really shake things up, evolutionarily speaking.
Yeah, it's like evolution gets a jolt of energy and then chills out for a while.
Precisely.
But does that really account for the sheer scale of simultaneous speciation that this study suggests? We're talking about the vast majority of life on Earth suddenly appearing within a blink of an eye, geologically speaking.
That's the million-dollar question. And it's why this whole thing is stirring up so much debate.
It's like scientists are being forced to go back to the drawing board and rethink some of their fundamental assumptions about how evolution works.
Absolutely. They're having to re-examine the timeline and the mechanisms.
It's like shaking up the etch, a sketch of evolution, and seeing what new picture emerges.
I like that analogy.
And as we all know, when there's scientific uncertainty, there are always those alternative explanations lurking in the shadows.
Oh, yeah. Those are always fun.
So let's take a peek into some of those less conventional ideas, shall we? One that immediately springs to mind, aligns with this whole sudden appearance of species thing, is creationism.
Right. Creationism, which is often rooted in religious beliefs,
Right.
proposes that a divine creator poofed all life into existence pretty much as we see it today.
Makes sense. It fits nicely with the study's findings.
But of course, it relies on a whole different framework of understanding than scientific methodology.
Okay, so we've got science in one corner, religion in the other.
A classic showdown.
But wait, there's a third contender stepping into the ring.
Oh,
And this one's a little more out there.
let me guess. You're talking about alien creationism.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. This theory proposes that it wasn't a divine being who was responsible for life on Earth, but rather advanced extraterrestrials.
And not just any extraterrestrials, mind you. These
That's
were
it.
masterminds.
And it gets even crazier.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about Zecharia Sitchin here,
Of course.
the proponent of this theory.
Right.
He claims that humans were specifically created by these aliens to mine gold.
For them.
Hold up. Let me get this straight. Super advanced aliens travel across the galaxy, create humans, and then put us to work digging up gold. It's like a cosmic version of indentured servitude.
It's a pretty wild concept.
It is. Why not just grab the gold themselves? I mean, if they're advanced enough to create us, surely they have some fancy alien tech to do their own mining.
Yeah, that's one of the many questions critics of Sitchin's theory bring up. It does seem a bit illogical.
To put it mildly.
Mm.
But hey,
Yeah.
I guess that's what makes this whole thing so entertaining. It's like a cosmic soap opera, complete with drama, intrigue, and a healthy dose of what the heck.
It definitely captures the imagination.
For sure. But while Sitchin's claims might be fun to think about, we should remember that they're not exactly mainstream science.
Right, they're considered pretty fringe by most scientists.
Okay, fair enough. But even if we set aside the more fantastical parts of Sitchin's theory, the idea that extraterrestrial life might have had a hand in our origins isn't completely out there, is it?
Yeah.
I mean, the universe is a pretty big place.
Yeah.
It seems statistically unlikely that we're the only intelligent life forms out there.
That's a good point. The possibility of extraterrestrial life, even intelligent life, is something that scientists are actively investigating.
Right. There are whole research programs dedicated to searching for signs of life beyond Earth.
Exactly. Whether it's microbial life on Mars or radio signals from distant civilization.
Oh, yeah. Like that wow signal picked up back in the 70s.
Mhm.
Still gives me goosebumps.
Absolutely. And while we haven't found definitive proof of alien life just yet, the search goes on.
Who knows what we'll find in the years to come?
Exactly.
So let's bring it back down to Earth for a sec. We've got this scientific study claiming that 90% of species appeared relatively recently.
Right.
It's probably not gradual evolution,
Likely not.
and it's probably not a divine creator or aliens obsessed with gold.
Probably not.
So what other explanations are scientists considering?
Well, one area of research that's gaining traction focuses on the role of viruses in evolution.
Viruses, those tiny little things that make us
It's
sick.
the very same. But here's the thing. Viruses aren't just agents of disease. They're also incredibly adept at manipulating genes.
Interesting.
They can insert their own genetic material into the DNA of their hosts, and sometimes those changes can be pretty dramatic.
So you're saying viruses could be like tiny little genetic engineers shuffling the evolutionary deck and potentially leading to the rapid emergence of new species.
It's a possibility that some scientists are exploring.
So it's not just survival of the fittest anymore.
Right.
It's survival of the most cleverly infected.
In a way, yes. And it's just one example of how our understanding of evolution is constantly evolving.
Whoa, meta.
What we consider settled science today might be completely overturned tomorrow by a new discovery or a fresh perspective on existing evidence.
It's like science is always playing a game of Jenga,
It kind of is.
pulling out old blocks and carefully stacking new ones on top.
And sometimes the whole tower comes crashing down.
Exactly. Which brings us back to that other mind-bending topic we talked about earlier.
You mean quantum mechanics?
The one and only. The realm of the very small, where the rules of classical physics seem to go out the window.
And things get really weird.
It's like the Wild West of science. Particles can be in multiple places at once, and just looking at something can actually change what it's doing.
That's the essence of quantum superposition and the observer effect.
Okay, so how does this tie into the whole evolution debate?
Well, some physicists have speculated that quantum phenomena might actually play a role in biological processes, including evolution.
Whoa, hold on. Like quantum entanglement, where two particles are connected no matter how far apart they are, could somehow influence genetic mutations or the transfer of genetic material between organisms.
That's the idea.
My brain is officially starting to melt.
It's definitely a mind bender.
So you're saying there might be a connection between the subatomic world of quantum mechanics and the grand sweep of evolution.
It's a fascinating idea that some scientists are starting to explore.
It's mind-blowing to think that there might be these hidden connections between the smallest and largest scales of existence.
It is.
And it makes you wonder what other mysteries are out there just waiting to be uncovered.
That's the beauty of it all. The more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know. And that sense of wonder, that drive to explore the unknown, is what keeps science moving forward.
After that deep dive into the quantum realm, I think I need a minute to catch my breath and let my brain unscramble itself.
Yeah, me too.
But we're not done yet. We still need to unpack what all this means for us and our understanding of where we came from.
Yeah, it's a lot to wrap your head around, isn't it? All these different theories and ideas.
It's enough to make your head spin. So let's go back to Sitchin and his Annunaki theory for a minute. He claims these Sumerian texts hold the key to understanding our origins. But how reliable are those texts as a historical source?
Well, that's where things get a little tricky. Sumerian civilization definitely existed. They were way ahead of their time in terms of writing, math, astronomy, all that stuff. But interpreting those ancient texts, particularly when we're talking about cosmic creation, well, it's a very subjective process.
So it's like trying to decipher a teenager's text messages, full of emojis and slang that only they and their friends understand.
Haha, kind of, yeah. Scholars who specialize in ancient Sumerian language and culture have actually challenged a lot of Sitchin's interpretations.
Really?
Yeah, they argue that he often takes those texts out of context or reads meanings into them that the original authors may not have intended.
So maybe Sitchin was engaging in a little bit of creative storytelling, using these ancient texts as inspiration for his own epic space opera.
It's definitely possible. And while his ideas are definitely entertaining, it's important to remember that they haven't really been embraced by the scientific community.
Okay, fair enough. But even if we put aside the more outlandish parts of Sitchin's theory, the idea that extraterrestrial life could have played a role in our origins isn't totally crazy, is it? The universe is a vast place. To think we're the only intelligent life out there seems a little...
Egotistical.
Yeah, exactly.
It does. And the possibility of extraterrestrial life, even intelligent life, is something that scientists are actively investigating.
There are those research programs dedicated to finding signs of life beyond Earth.
Right, exactly. Whether it's microbial life on Mars or radio signals from distant civilizations.
Like that wow signal they picked up back in the 70s.
Exactly.
Still gives me chills.
And while we haven't found definitive proof of alien life yet, the search continues.
Yeah, who knows what we'll discover down the road.
For sure.
Okay, so let's bring it back down to Earth for a second. We got this study claiming that 90% of species appeared relatively recently.
Right.
It's probably not gradual evolution as we've always understood.
Likely not.
It's probably not a divine creator.
Probably not.
And it's probably not aliens who are obsessed with gold.
Probably not.
So what other explanations are on the table?
Well, one area of research that's getting a lot of attention is looking at the role of viruses in evolution.
Viruses?
Yeek.
Those tiny little things that make us sick.
The very same.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Viruses aren't just about making us ill. They're also incredibly good at manipulating genes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they can insert their own genetic material into the DNA of their hosts.
Right.
And those changes they introduce, well, sometimes they can be pretty significant.
So you're saying viruses could be like tiny little genetic engineers shuffling the evolutionary deck and maybe even leading to the rapid emergence of new species.
That's a possibility some scientists are exploring.
So it's not just survival of the fittest anymore.
Right.
It's survival of the most cleverly infected.
You could say that. And it's just one example of how what we know about evolution is constantly evolving itself.
That's pretty meta.
It is.
Yeah.
And what we consider settled science today could be completely overturned tomorrow.
By a new discovery.
Exactly. Or a new way of looking at the evidence we already have.
It's like science is always playing a game of Jenga, pulling out old blocks and carefully stacking new ones on top.
I like that.
But sometimes the whole tower comes crashing down.
Haha, that's true. Which brings us back to that other mind-bending topic we touched on earlier, quantum mechanics.
Ah, yes, quantum mechanics.
Mm.
The realm of the very small, where the rules of classical physics seem to go out the window.
And things get really strange.
It's like the Wild West of science, where particles can be in multiple places at once, and the act of observing something can actually change what it's doing.
That's the essence of quantum superposition and the observer effect.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it.
Yeah.
So how does this connect to the whole evolution debate?
Well, some physicists have suggested that quantum phenomena might actually be playing a role in biological processes, including evolution.
Really? So you're saying things like quantum entanglement, where two particles are linked no matter how far apart they are, could somehow be influencing genetic mutations or the transfer of genetic material between organisms?
It's a mind-blowing idea, but some scientists are starting to explore it.
My brain is officially fried.
Uh-huh. It is a lot to take in.
So you're saying there might be a connection between the subatomic world of quantum mechanics and the grand sweep of evolution?
It's a pretty wild thought, isn't it?
It is. It's amazing to think that there might be these hidden connections between the smallest and largest scales of existence.
It really is.
And it just makes you wonder what other mysteries are out there waiting for us to discover.
That's the beauty of it all, isn't it? The more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know. And that sense of wonder, that drive to explore the unknown is what keeps science moving forward.
Well, after that deep dive into the quantum realm, I think I need a moment to collect myself and let my brain unscramble.
Me too.
But we're not done yet. We still need to unpack what all of this means for us and our understanding of where we came from. All right, so we've explored this study that's shaking things up in the world of evolution. We've talked about alternative explanations like creationism and even those gold-loving aliens. And we even dipped our toes into the mind-bending world of quantum mechanics. So where do we go from here?
Well, I think the big takeaway is that the search for truth, especially when it comes to these big questions about our origins, is a never-ending journey. It's a path full of twists and turns, dead ends, and the occasional breakthrough.
So we shouldn't expect a simple answer, a single aha moment that solves the mystery of life, the universe, and everything.
Not really. Science is all about constantly refining our understanding based on new evidence, new observations, and new ways of looking at the world around us.
And sometimes the most amazing discoveries come from questioning those long-held assumptions and being brave enough to consider different perspectives, even if they seem a little out there. It's like we're trying to put together a giant cosmic jigsaw puzzle. But right now, we only have a few pieces.
That's a great analogy. And every new piece we find, whether it's a fossil, a groundbreaking study, or even a fresh take on an ancient text, helps us see the bigger picture a little bit more clearly.
But it sounds like we're still a long way from finishing that puzzle.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But that's part of what makes it so exciting. There's still so much to discover, so much to learn, so many mysteries waiting to be solved.
So what's next for you? What are you most curious about when it comes to understanding our origins?
Well, I'm particularly fascinated by the potential role of epigenetics in evolution. It's the study of how things in our environment can actually affect how our genes are expressed. And it suggests that evolution might not just be about changes in our DNA sequences, but also about how those genes are turned on or off.
So it's not just nature versus nurture. It's nature and nurture working together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that adds a whole new level of complexity to how we think about evolution.
It's amazing to think that our experiences, the world around us, the choices we make could actually be influencing how future generations evolve.
It's a pretty humbling thought, and it really highlights how interconnected everything is.
Well, I don't know about you, but after all this, I'm feeling a renewed sense of awe about the world and our place in it. It's a good reminder that even with all our technology, there's still so much we don't know. There are still mysteries out there just waiting to be explored.
I completely agree. And the most important thing is to keep that curiosity alive, to never stop asking questions, and to always be open to new ideas and perspectives. That's what drives all scientific progress.
So to our listener who sent in this study, thank you for kicking off this amazing conversation. And to everyone listening, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep that sense of wonder alive, because the universe is full of surprises, and our journey of discovery is just beginning.